I don't even know where to begin with Yakuza 4. Part of me wants to rip it apart because of its clunky menu screens, repetitive combat moves, drawn-out cutscenes, and voiceless text interactions. How could these developers ignore such obvious flaws that constantly pull you out of the immersive experience they're aiming to lure you into? But then I take a step back and say, calm down, Chad. Remember, this is a franchise developed by the Japanese, a culture of visionaries who have a very different theory about what a video game should be. They cherish the long cutscene, and in my opinion, that's what movies are for. Much like the latest Final Fantasy titles, Yakuza 4 is a story-driven experience that requires you to watch the game more than play it. Now to me, that's not really a video game. That's just, well, that's just a video.
Yakuza 4 is a complex story told through the perspective of 4 playable characters: a loan shark, an escaped prison convict, a detective, and the original protagonist from the previous titles, Kazuma. Explaining the plot to all of your limited attention spans would leave you feeling like the fish in Finding Nemo after Marlin tells a joke.
Well, actually, the mollusk isn't moving. He's in one place, and then the sea cucumber, well, I'm mixed up.
The bottom line, they're all pursuing a common goal in preserving the honor of their past by discovering who runs the crime circuit amongst the police and Yakuza. There are some excellent cutscenes that really show off the PS3's firepower. The facial expressions look amazingly human and pull you into the emotion of the story until it randomly cuts to a text interaction. You'll be enjoying a cinematic marvel when suddenly, for reasons I believe boil down to hard drive space and/or pure developer laziness, the game cuts to far inferior gameplay graphics of the same characters from the previous cutscene speaking to each other without the aid of a voice actor. Words endlessly appear on the screen for you to read to your heart's content. I'm pretty sure that's the exact reason I started playing video games though, to get away from books. Why couldn't they just make the entire cutscene flow in one continuous sequence? Here's my theory.
They want to engage the gamer, make you feel like now you're controlling the conversation by pushing X repeatedly to progress the discussion. But unlike the recent, wildly popular RPGs like Fallout 3 or Mass Effect, you have no control over what's being said. In Yakuza 4, you're simply just reading what's been written, and it's very linear, slow, and annoying.
As frustrating as this element is, the story is the only reason I'd recommend playing this game. It's a refreshing window into the world of Japanese culture and crime. That said, it's still very long and mildly predictable. Now onto the meat and potatoes, the gameplay. Wait, did I say meat and potatoes? In Yakuza 4, the gameplay is actually more like a side dish that you bought at the store 10 minutes before the party. This is just a rough estimate, but I'm going to say that the gameplay accounts for 35% of Yakuza 4. Many have compared the Yakuza series to Grand Theft Auto because it's free roam around the streets of Japan, but it couldn't be more opposite. The game tries to fool you into thinking it's an open environment and that you're free to do whatever you want, but you have to do what the game wants in order to make a decision. You can't fight any old lady walking down the street. You can only fight people who start fights with you. Many times you don't choose to partake in a side mission. It randomly chooses you, and you have no choice but to finish it in order to stop doing it. Here's a note for the developers working on Yakuza 5. If you're gonna make a sandbox environment, don't make open areas that look explorable but have an invisible wall. Don't have the screen fade to black when a character wants to travel upstairs. Don't limit the character's choices on who he can fight with. Allow the character to run faster and jump. And lastly, make a good game that doesn't have the illusion of choice making and actually improves upon the previous title's broken mechanics. Whew. But Chad, is the fighting good, at least? My answer? Yes! During your first fight of the game, you'll experience some of the most ridiculous, body-smashing, face-bashing, backlashing hits ever laid down in a video game. Some of them are downright violent, and others are just cartoonish. However, this novelty wears off in a couple of fights, because it's repetitive. Also, the targeting system in this game is beyond frustrating, mainly because your character doesn't stay locked onto his opponent and then has no choice to parry or block a counterattack.
So the fighting system is okay, but could easily be amazing with some small tweaks. The cutscenes sometimes resemble a Mario Puzo adaptation and perfectly set the scene of modern-day Japan. But outside of that, the game is tiresome, dated, and broken. The real challenge of Yakuza 4? Trying to enjoy the experience after you've played for over 20 hours and are only halfway through. Sorry fans, you can troll me all you want, but I faithfully give Yakuza 4 a 2 out of 5.